Okay, best friends, and we're back. Okay, so this is going to be part 2 of my story time, where I started in the middle talking about my decision to move from California to New York for university and how that has changed my life. I am 34 years old, and yeah, it's been very interesting these short 34 years. So we'll jump right back in where we left off on the last story time. So, I landed in New York. I'm with my sister, and we go to a hotel. We stay at a hotel called the Royal Park Hotel, which I booked online. I don't know what references I had for booking this hotel, like what platforms I used at the time. This was 2008 or 9, something like that, maybe. Yeah, so I don't know what platforms I used at the time to book this hotel. I just found a hotel in New York. I think it was on like 72nd or 76th Street on the west side. I remember taking like it was like near the 1 train, I believe. So we get to the Royal Park Hotel, and this hotel was anything but royal. So it was freezing, okay? Because mind you, this is January, and me and my sister are from California, so we are not properly dressed for the winter in New York. Mind you, it wasn't like snowing or anything, so it wasn't like that cold. It was kind of like nice in the daytime because it was still sunny, but when you like at nighttime, obviously it gets colder. So in our hotel room, we would like turn on the radiator or the heat, and anytime we turned the heat on and plugged in our cell phones to charge, the power in the entire hotel went out. It was crazy, and it happened to us about 3 times. We were like, so either we get charge our phones and have phones to use tomorrow, or we don't have heat. It was so awkward. Luckily, the front desk receptionist at the hotel just kept coming back to fix it, and I think he had a little bit of crush on my sister because for whatever reason. I mean, she kind of looks like a cross between Lisa Ray McCoy and Raven Simone. So he she was getting attention on the plane. People thought she was one of the actresses, and then at the hotel, he was like digging her, so he kept fixing it without getting upset, even though we heard that other people in the hotel obviously were becoming upset about the situation. The next day, we're leaving the hotel to go to campus so I can do like the orientation day. And we are going to the subway platform, and there's like these 2 young girls who are getting on the subway. And I'm just like, we're like, where are your parents? Like, what's going on? Mind you, me and my sister we're latchkey kids. So we used to walk, however long it took to get to school from home or whatever when there wasn't a school bus available. I mean, we used to go over overpasses, a good distance, maybe half a mile to get to school sometimes when we were in elementary and we were young kids. I was like in, I think, kindergarten. So, yeah, so we just, but like to see like kids in New York doing it like right in the subway by themselves without an adult, like a train that can get them to a whole other borough, which is like almost like another city if you were in California. That was like crazy for us. We were just like, oh my god, these babies. We get to my school, do the orientation. That was great. I met Zach, who I talked about before in the previous video. He actually was one of like the orientation leaders or something like that. So he was, yeah, you could spot Zach out in the crowd. It was like he was there. And then the next thing was the next day after that, we checked into my dorm, and then my sister was leaving from there. So I remember checking into the dorm, going to Century 21 department store, which does not exist anymore, but I think they're bringing it back to get like stuff. Like we didn't know where to get stuff, so we just saw like somebody mentioned Century 21 and they must have thought we were rich or something. But like I ended up walking out with Calvin Klein pillows that I really couldn't afford, but it was just like needing stuff and not knowing where to go to get these things. So by the time my sister left me to go back to the airport, I had like $60 in my banking account. Yeah. And you know what they say, no money, but more problems. It was crazy. So at the time, when I was growing up, we had to go physically in person to establishments and ask if they were hiring or if we saw a hiring sign in order to apply for these jobs. So of course I was on the ground when I wasn't in class, looking around, trying to put in resumes, things like that. Discovered Craigslist, started putting in resumes, but it was like a good 3 months that I was there. Like it was like my whole first semester. I did not have an income or a job. Thank God for a student meal plan card. I didn't travel that much, but the subway was pretty affordable. I wasn't going out to clubs or anything like that. I went out to a club one time, which we might talk about that another time. I went to, and I just wasn't, spending. And thankfully, my aunt, they were covering my phone bill. It was hard because the braids that I had in my head had to stay in my head for several months because I was not taking my hair down. I didn't know about going to Harlem to have the Africans braid my hair because at the time, technically, I went to a private university, mind you. There wasn't that many black people, and the black people that were there, they wasn't the kind of black who like looked like they ever got their hair braided or would know where to get, things like that. It was kind of like real bourgeois black or upper middle class, very upper middle class to rich black people. And yeah, I was a scholarship kid. So I got my first job. Let's backtrack. So the courses I were taking, one course for me, because I was newly gay, I took a queer cinema studies course, and that is when I first discovered the film, documentary film, Paris is Burning. And that was like a wow thing to me, to like live in this city where these things happen, to see those two little boys on the corner who were, I think, like 13 and 14 or something like that. And they were like 2 a.m. He's like, where are your parents at? And it was like, at home, or we ain't got parents, or something like that. And I just was like, wow, that emotionally gripped me. And yeah, like the first time, we actually will talk about the first time I went out to the club in New York. So I remember I was in my dorm room, just did laundry, folded my clothes, and Larry, my best friend, at the time we were not best friends, we barely knew each other. He sat behind me in our African American studies class, and I kind of didn't like him because he was always falling asleep in class, and I just thought it was so rude. It was only like 3 of us or 4 of us in the class. And we had a black professor, and of course, we need to know the answers. We better know these answers. People are expecting us to know these answers. So I remember watching this Lifetime movie that was starring Daniel Sunjata. Yeah, because he was hot. And he was doing like this nice hot scene in this movie or whatever. And I'm doing my laundry, folding it, and Larry's like texting me, and he's like, hey, do you want to go out tonight? And I'm like, no, I'm okay. Because 1, I'm broke. 2, like, I don't know you, and I don't be going out with people I don't know like that. 3, I'm into this movie. And 4, I really don't have anything to wear because I'm like doing laundry. So then I'm saying no. He's like, oh, but it's my birthday. And I was like, oh, happy birthday, hon. So this must be like in April. He's like, happy birthday. I was like, happy birthday. Yeah, I have a good time going out. And he was like, oh, but I really like for you to come out. And he was like, also me and my boyfriend just broke up. And I'm like, I am so sorry to hear that. You have a good time, sweetie. And then he said something else, and I was like, okay, I'll go. I was like, because mind you, I'm saying, like, I don't have anything to wear. So I basically put on the Bay Area uniform. It was like a white tee, blue jeans, and I had my high top suede Recreations that had like these black and purple and silver like design aesthetics, because at the time Recreation sneakers was lit in Cali. I know New York is like a Timberlands place, but I didn't have Timberlands. I had my Recreations and my like leather bomber jacket. And I think maybe a rosary. I like had that. My braids. I don't know if I had a hat on. I probably had a hat on, but like took it off or whatever in the club. Anyways, go to Escuelitas, aka Escos, which no longer exists. That was an institution. We go to Escos, and I wasn't 21 yet, so it had to be a night where it was like for under 21. I'm not sure if that was a 21 and over club or not. Some of them, a lot of clubs in New York, the gay clubs were 21 and up, and then there were like Rush, I believe Rush or Splash, and I think Esco's, that was like 18 and up or something, because I'm only 19 and Larry's only 19. So then, yeah, we go to the club, come to find out this boy can't even dance. I was like, how do you invite somebody to a club and you don't even know how to dance? But I'm dancing. I have a good time. I have my one drink that I shouldn't even bought because I couldn't afford it. Looking at my banking account go like ding, 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 ding down. And honestly, yeah, then and I know what people are probably thinking, like, how could your sister leave you, like, what, only $60 in your account? But like I said, we are people who did not come from money like that. Like, our mother's generation had money, but then the 80s hit, and everybody, if you're from the States and you're an ethnic minority, you kind of know what happened in the late 70s, 80s with a lot of ethnic minority families and things like that. So we didn't grow up with money. So yeah, we were like, I was like, I'm gonna make it do what it's gonna do. Like, you know, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm a hustler. Like, I don't sell anything, but I was like, I'm gonna make it do what it's gonna do. I stayed with a job since I was like 15, 16, I was gonna get a job. It took me to the end of the semester. Like, literally, I got my job a few weeks before the end of the semester had ended. I didn't know anything about renting a room on Craigslist or anything like that. Where to even find a room like you would do like Gypsy Housing New York today, or I don't know, people still use Craigslist to find rooms. That's kind of sketch. We didn't think it was back then, but it's definitely sketch. But yeah, so typically I would use Gypsy House in New York these days. But at the time, didn't know anything about that. I was looking for apartments, but of course I'm like, I would need first, second, and last or something like that. Like, I was like, I don't have that money right now. Larry and his boyfriend at the time were volunteering at an LGBT center or shelter called Sylvia's Place, and he suggested that I go stay there for a bit. So we're gonna end this shortly. I don't want to make these videos too long, but basically, I got a job at the Amish market over in Tribeca near World Trade, and then I was homeless.